What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Couple Things.
With Shawn and Andrew.
Today we have cliches of marriage.
We're going to be rolling through some marriage cliches, just kind of one-liners that
And
people say.
We're debunking or we're
We're just going to expand. Do we agree with them? Do we disagree? Do we have anything to add to them? But I want to talk about some life updates first.
okay.
How are you?
How am I?
Yeah.
I am good.
Good.
Full transparency, I'm struggling with the balance of work and mom and wife. I told you this last night. I don't know how to balance it right now. We go through seasons like that.
What I am realizing is that the balance is ever changing. And the striving towards balance in that realm never ends.
Yeah.
So depending on how old the kids are, how much they need in different areas, we're always going to be adjusting this. And so there will be times, I think, in transitions of adjustments where it feels like we're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
And I think that's just a signal that we need to make adjustments.
For sure.
Shawn and I really have not been away from the kids much.
No.
Which is great. We've had a lot of demands, which is also great.
Yeah.
And we love having things to do that we feel like are meaningful. One thing we got to do recently was speak at the Houston Prayer Breakfast.
Yes.
And it was her and I that gave the keynote. Just under 1,000 people were there. We got to meet the mayor of Houston. Got to meet some fellow Astro athletes, baseball players down there. Wonderful group. And I really enjoyed being up there with you. One thing, I feel like I grew in my speaking abilities just with understanding how to give a keynote presentation. I feel like we give Q&As really well, where it's like if we have a moderator bouncing off of us, we can crush that. But it's the presentation where it's the 30 minutes of unbroken talking that really is intimidating to me. Having you up there is a blast. And we've kind of hit a nice little routine, I think.
I had a lot of fun. It's almost like we've gotten so used to bouncing in interviews like this that it felt easier than it has in the past, because it was kind of like just doing this again.
And pretty much what we did was create a script or a one sheet for our speech like we do with our episodes. And I'm pleased with it. Maybe we'll share that at some point. Maybe not.
I will say, going back full circle of the life updates and the balance, and I feel like my scale is tipped a little bit. The past couple of weeks, we have been so busy.
Yeah.
More so than usual with travel and being away from the kids, which is abnormal for us. I went to New York and ended up going to New York twice.
It's felt like more, but think about this. We take a date night once a week, typically is what we will allocate for us not putting the kids down.
Yeah.
That to us is like sacred time, bedtime routine, tucking them in, doing the prayers, everything. The last 2 weeks, we've just taken our date night on Tuesday.
For sure.
And so that's been our one night away. So it has felt like more because we've gotten on a plane.
I know.
But functionally, it's not actually been that different.
No. It just feels like a lot right now, Andrew.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
And I'm sorry if I contribute to that.
Not at all. I think it also had to do with, I really wanted to take the kids to the zoo today. I had it on the schedule. And it didn't work out. But it's totally fine.
Well, Nashville is currently almost all underwater.
True.
We've had some wild storms, as has this whole region. Anyway, I love you.
I love you.
Yeah.
I do want to grab a water.
Go grab a water.
I am on the verge of a cold. So I kind of have knives in my throat.
All right. I felt that Tuesday, but not.
Oh, mine's lingering. We will just continue to allude to this. We do have some really exciting news that we can't tell you about, but it will be happening in the next couple months. And we won't be able to tell you about it then either. You might learn about it in a year. But it is very exciting.
Yeah, and it requires physical and mental training. Speaking of which, I did reach a fun milestone. I submitted my proposal for my research that I'm doing for my dissertation. That was a massive undertaking. 126 pages, took about 5 months to find the topic, go through the hundreds of articles, the peer-reviewed studies, and then kind of slowly mock that up. So,
Hey, I want to go to dinner and celebrate that. That's huge. And I'm very, very proud of you.
we could do a family dinner. How about that?
Great.
Just anyway, all right, let's do a comment of the day. This one's from Jessica London. She said, "Loved your recent episode. So awesome you had the Freemans on. We love learning from them. I love how real and honest y'all were about the realities of parenting little kids at different ages and personalities, being business owners, all while striving to model and create a healthy marriage. We so relate to these and appreciate the little tips and reminders to check in each other. Love, Tanks." Sorry. All these no, sometimes the comments it's like people are slinging it and we're just reading as it's written. All right. Thank you, Jessica, for that comment. We did interview the Freemans. That was a fun episode. We have a lot of fun interviews coming up, so stay tuned. But today we're talking about marriage cliches, okay? So marriage, love is maybe the most often talked about topic in the world, you know? Maybe it's been the most written about, sung about, pondered. And so you look at TVs, movies, etc., and I feel like it definitely does portray marriage and love in a certain light. There's kind of like patterns or cliches that are consistent through these different media. And do you think this sets people up for unrealistic expectations for marriage when they meet someone?
The cliches or the stereotypes of marriage in movies and
Yeah.
I think it sets you up for massive failure.
How so? Because there's truth to cliches too.
There is truth to cliches, but like I think the worst stereotype of marriage out there is that, and it's written within all of like kids movies, which I also think is such a beautiful thing that's written, but like the expectation can kind of be bad, which is that idea of like when you find the one, it should be easy. Like it should be happily ever after. And what is never like explained is this idea that happily ever after for sure, but like that takes work.
I think what cliches miss, let me make the parallel to texting someone versus communicating over phone call. I think when you apply the tone and the context to what's being said, it adds a lot of color. And so the cliches might be true, but I think more oftentimes they're misleading because people just think that, oh, I'm applying that to my current context now. I'm applying the happily ever after, my idea of happiness. I'm applying that saying to how I interpret happiness now. And I think it's really like there's a context switch, especially with that one. Like happy doesn't mean free or I get to pursue whatever I want, or it's like, no, there's a responsibility, there's a investment, there's a sacrifice. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So applying the phrase to the person makes a big difference.
I just think marriage gets a bad rap.
Interesting. I agree. It does not get enough credit. It deserves more credit than it gets. It is a profound, transformative experience.
I also think it's funny because like our society and our world values friendship. The amount of people who are like best friends or the most important part of life, whatever, it's a partner. It's a spouse. Like if you're totally fine having a best friend that you would kill for and you want to be by your side for the rest of your life, like it's the same concept.
I think
better.
Culture also admires love, but I think marriage it gets a little hung up on because there is a little bit of discomfort associated with it. Anyway, shall we roll through these and then we could expand on these? So we're gonna read through each of these cliches. Maybe there's 20 or so. We're gonna talk about them, say if we agree, disagree, etc. First one: happy wife, happy life, or happy spouse, happy house. Do I agree with this? Yeah, I think I do.
I think that I do. However, happy wife, happy life is usually said sarcastically, where it's like, do anything in your power to keep your wife happy, and that keeps a happy household. And it's alluding to this idea that like an angry wife disrupts everything.
So don't disrupt the beast.
Yeah, and that's not fair. Happy spouse, happy house. Yes. I think we talked about this in our happiness podcast, which is like it should be your mission to wake up and serve your spouse.
Yeah, we did a whole contested episode on happiness in marriage. I agree with you. I really like your take on this. I think if the happiness comes from like the depths and not just surface level,
Yes.
then for sure that's true. I also think it reflects like happy wife. In my mind, I'm like, okay, you guys are functioning as a team. Maybe if you're respectful and taking care of what needs to be done and taking ownership and also communicating really effectively, then that's what leads to a happy life. And if you do all of those things, the derivative effects include, but are not limited to, a happy wife and a happy life.
Yes.
Like your house is in order.
Yes. But I don't think it should be the mockery version where people are like, don't even say your opinion. It's not even worth it. Because if you upset someone, like that is trash.
Another one that's not on here actually, that I feel like is also said with sarcasm. Actually, most of these could be said with sarcasm, but like the old ball and chain.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's usually said derogatorily. Obviously, I actually think, I'm not going to like advocate for a positive spin to that because being handcuffed to anything is just a tough metaphor to make. So there's probably better ones. But like, yeah, I shouldn't be. If Andrew got to do whatever Andrew got to do, man, that would not be good.
Yeah.
Would not be good.
It would not be good for a marriage.
Would definitely not be good for marriage. And in the long run, it would definitely not be good to me.
Agreed.
So like having you balance that out. Again, the handcuff is not the right thing.
Yeah.
But let me make sure we're recording real quick. Okay. So far, I'm liking this episode.
Same.
Wow. I love talking with you.
I love you.
Next, never go to bed angry.
False. I feel like we both used to agree to this, but now I think we both disagree with this.
I would say never go to bed angry unless staying awake is what makes you angry. You know what I'm saying?
I just think in the context of our lives now with 3 kids and a full-time job, most of our arguments happen because we're hungry and tired.
Right.
And like we're just needing to cuddle and be quiet. And so not most of the time it's like, let's go to bed. And if we wake up and it's still there, let's talk about it.
Yeah, I agree. Last night, no kidding, it was 8:10 p.m. and Shawn turned to me. She said, "It's time to go to bed." Which usually I'm the one that gets tired before you. Mm. But last night we were both. I mean, so we had a couple nights ago, Shawn had food poisoning, so that kept her up. And then the night
I legit told Andrew, I was like, I think we have to go to the hospital.
Then we almost did. I was scared. We never really fully debriefed
we
that.
We
didn't. Because it went away and you're fine now. I thought you were having like an appendicitis.
I did too.
Then the day after that, we had a bright and early morning workout. We did a 5 a.m. morning workout together, which honestly, that is a milestone event for us, Shawn.
We did well.
Shawn didn't say a peep the whole hour.
I think it helped that there was a trainer there.
Yeah. Then the day after that was tornadoes.
Like 37 of them.
Well, legitimately, I think 6.
Just in our neighborhood.
We found ourselves waking the kids up at 2:45, going to the pantry, and then obviously we're up for a while through that. So
we're operating off of not a lot of sleep this week.
So going to bed last night is what we needed.
Yes.
So I would say we tend to disagree with the never go to bed angry because we have realized that being tired is the root of many of our arguments.
Yes. Because also when you get tired, I'm learning, like evil creeps in so much easier. Irrational thoughts, impulsive thoughts.
It's hard to hold your tongue too. I do agree with the idea that time can fester wounds. Does So
For sure.
it should be addressed sooner
Absolutely.
than later. All right, next. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
I've never understood this.
Fool me once, shame on you. So it's like, oh, hey, you tricked me. That wasn't very nice. But if you do that again, then it's my fault. So
I
it's
know,
like
but like, in the context of what? Like, if we're talking about manipulation, none of that's good. So let's just not have any of that. And that's not good in a marriage. But in the context of a marriage, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice. I'm like, what?
I highly disagree with this. I think marriage is so beautiful because it's the one place that you can, I think, as long as it's unintentional, make mistakes many times
For sure.
and still be loved. You right?
Yeah.
So, because the way this is said, fool me twice, shame on me, it just sucks the goodwill out of the marriage, like the charitable aspect of like, hey, I'm going to be with you through thick and thin. And this is not about who can outwit or out trick the
No.
other person.
I think that's kind of where I was going. It's like the manipulative, like, if we're talking about manipulation, then like that's not good
I agree.
at all.
Yeah.
So that's a blame game. That's like that's your fault, that's my fault. That's then you're separating a marriage. Whereas like
Yeah.
any mistake you have to have complete ownership over, but is a team's fault.
I would adjust it by saying, fool me once, shame on us. Fool me twice, shame on us.
Yeah.
You know, someone's also said it's not my fault, but it is our problem. Anything like
Yes.
we collectively share the thing.
That's what I mean. Like if
So.
someone makes a mistake, they should be man or woman enough to say like, you know, complete ownership. That's my fault, but it is a team problem. It's a team fault.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Jesus would say, fool me 70 times, 7 times, and I still forgive you.
For sure.
Next, love means never having to say you are sorry.
False. BS false.
Okay, but I think it's some profanity out of the girl.
Yeah. Love means I'll always love you, but love is also having like enough awareness to apologize because you love your spouse.
I would say love means being able to say you're sorry a ton.
A million times.
And still be there after it's all said and done.
Love is knowing you don't need to say sorry to be loved, but like love means from my side, I love you enough to say sorry. Like,
right.
I don't know.
And I will probably say sorry the most to
Yeah.
the person I love. Next, distance makes the heart grow fonder.
True, but it sucks.
Say more.
Like the second I leave you, I'm like, frick. I just want to go back.
Yeah.
So like, I agree. I think separation makes you like have more reflection on how good you got it.
You don't know what you got till it's gone kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with this one.
Yeah.
Next, just kiss and make up. I think it's kind of like don't go to bed angry. Sometimes you need physical touch. A little makeup. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying?
I will never forget when we were having an argument. I think we said this on a podcast before. On the Santa Monica Pier, there's a homeless guy walking by, and I think he caught wind of the tension. And he said to us, nothing's that bad. Or like, it was like, nothing's that big of a deal. Just love each other.
Yeah.
And we say that to our kids all the time when with any mistake or any oops, it's like, how big of a deal is it? Like this big, like the tiniest.
I think that was right when we were struggling through the miscarriage.
It was.
I remember that well myself. Okay. So that's a sometimes just kiss and make up.
I think I would agree with it. I think it's like don't harbor anything. Just talk about it. Kiss and make up.
I do think one thing we have the kids do, and I learned from my football coach, James Franklin, while we were at Vanderbilt was anytime there's like a fight between players, he would have them at the end of practice hug in front of the whole team until both people smiled.
Because
So
it's
we
just
have,
so awkward and like you don't want to do it.
and there is something about the physical touch barrier where you're like, okay, it's gonna be okay, and it just kind of disarms you in a certain
Yeah.
way. So we have the kid do that. Next, the couple that plays together stays together.
Yes.
I agree. I think it's one of the ways a couple stays together. Shawn
Yes.
and I value playfulness.
Very much so.
Yeah.
You have to be able to have fun.
Yeah. That does not mean play in the competitive sense. I think we don't do well there. But it's like tickling, wrestling.
Being silly, just goofing off,
Yeah.
being a kid.
It kind of, it's like an added layer of reality. I think when you're able to be comedic with something or be
Mhm.
playful, it's like you have a mastery over the situation, or you've been there enough that you have. Shawn and I talk about this concept of white space, which is like a military concept of you're not just in the moment reacting. You have the ability to step back and like make quality decisions that you want to make. And I
Mhm.
think playfulness is an indicator of that.
Yes.
So that's just generally a good way to live life. And if you're just reacting, it's not going to bode well for a relationship. Next, love doesn't ever keep score.
Correct. It shouldn't.
I think I agree with it, but it doesn't. It does keep scars.
It keeps scars, but scars heal.
Yeah.
In the sense of like, they're always there, but they can be covered up.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, like, you should not be keeping a record of rights and wrongs.
No.
And you for sure, like, Shawn and I have several times gotten to the point, like, with chores around the house, with all the kid stuff there is to do. It's like, well, I did X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, I did X, Y, and Z. And then it's like, it's an endless, pointless exercise at the end of the day that ultimately just gets both of us fired up for no reason.
Yes.
And it's a much better play. That is one way to play the game. I think it's the worst way to play the game. I think a better way is like, what else can I do?
Yes.
Okay, how else can I help you?
Well, and
That's when we're at our best.
it deals with seasons too. Like you're going to go through seasons of life and marriage where you have to give a lot more than your spouse and vice versa based off of circumstances. And if you're keeping record of that, you're not honoring the support
Yeah.
that your spouse needs or you need in different times of life. And it's like, if we're going through a season where I need a lot more support and a lot more help than I'm able to give Andrew, if he's like, oh, I'm only going to help you and support you if I know that down the road,
Yeah.
I'm going to go, like, that doesn't work.
I do think though, from a you to me, I should not keep score. But from a me to you, I should be aware and reflective on, like, it's an extreme ownership kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, hey, I'm actually not doing enough.
This is what we got so tripped up on in the happiness podcast.
I know. That
Is
whole
because-
conversation would have been way different.
Is because it has nothing to do with you to me.
Yeah.
It has everything to do with me to you. And that might not make sense to listeners, but like my perspective and what you're saying is like, I should be reflectively aware of how hard I'm trying for you on a daily basis. And I shouldn't if that starts to dip, I need to be aware of that. And I need to be like, you know what? Snap out of it. Get back on the selfless service train.
Yeah.
And when both parties are doing that for each other, it works.
Right. It's almost like in the concept of faith, don't abuse grace, where it's like, I should be aware that I can hurt you and there could be, it's like, don't take advantage of the fact that there's no scoreboard.
Yes.
And be a sandbagger as a result.
Yes. But going back to happiness podcast, we're going to have to let them listen to that. Get ready, buckle up.
It
was contentious.
I thought Shawn was going to punch me in the throat.
If you go from things go wrong when you go from thinking about your spouse to thinking about yourself.
What can you do for me?
Like
Is what you're saying.
100%. Like, I'm not happy. He's not doing enough for me. He's not doing enough. Like, when it's me centered, it doesn't work.
Gosh, but that's a secret to life in so many ways. When you're able to, and
I'm not saying not ever prioritize yourself, but like, that cannot be your main focus.
Right.
In a marriage.
I think of generosity with finances too. Like, you really do reap so much benefit when you give.
Mm-hmm.
That's not why you do it, but it does come with it. And once you understand that, the idea of sacrifice and that benefits everybody, including yourself, it's really good.
Yeah.
That was a good one. Okay. Next, the answer to all of your marriage problems is yes, dear.
Trash. Don't ever say that.
I don't know. I kind of like this one. Here's why. I don't think you should just be a yes man
No.
or go along with everything, but having an improv type approach to marriage and life is kind of good. It goes back to the playfulness thing. Like if I say, "Oh yes, dear," I don't know. That's
No,
what they're
it's
doing.
pandering. It like, no marriage works when you feel like you don't have the space or ability to actually share your opinions. And I think you and I are interpreting this different, but the whole yes dear thing to me is that concept that I was told when we got engaged by friends who were like, "Oh, I've never had an argument with my husband," or, marriage is just easy because you're just like, "Oh, yes." If you don't have that space to actually like be free to say like, "Actually, no. I don't agree with that," or then it becomes like a false image of like who you are.
Yeah, we are interpreting this differently. I totally get that. I think I'm interpreting it more as, surface level, I disagree with this. But if I read it as the answer to all your problems is speak pleasantly to each other,
Well, yeah. Then yes.
but that still could include conflict and disagreements. And that's what I'm saying. Like improv comedians do this skit where it's like we're up on stage and then you say something and I say yes and
Yeah.
blah 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 blah, and then it's like you kind of play off of each other. That to me is, maybe it doesn't apply. Maybe.
I don't know.
Okay. Next, forgive and forget, or life is yours to miss. I agree.
Yeah.
Forgive and forget, or life is yours to miss. I'm not sure I've ever heard this one.
Never heard that. But yeah. If you harbor things, I mean, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to hurt your spouse, which sounds awful to say like outwardly. But like, you're going to probably say something to hurt their feelings. You're going to do something to offend them. You're going to make mistakes in a marriage. You're going to like, and you either have a choice to never let go of that and it destroy your marriage, or it'd be like, you know what? I still love you. Forgive you. Let's move on.
I think as I get older, I also think this is really powerful when applied to myself. Like forgive myself and say, okay, hey, I can't get caught up on this. I can't ruminate on this. I have to keep moving forward.
Same.
There's this old Rocky quote that I used to listen to before every football game. It's like, it ain't about how hard you can hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. It's like, you got to stay in motion.
Yeah.
And I mean, don't give up on the relationship. Don't give up on yourself. Keep going.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much what our whole 16 weeks of counseling was about forgiveness. And we had these prayers that we were to say. And it's like, really, people say the person who suffers most when someone is wronged is a person who doesn't forgive.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's true.
The 16-week course is really empowering in this idea of like, if you can learn how to do the true act of forgiveness, nothing can touch you. In the sense of like, it's only what you allow to harbor that hurts you.
Yeah. Right. I agree with that. Okay, next one. Quitters never win and winners never quit. I think I mostly agree with this.
Yeah.
when applied to marriage, it's like
Yeah.
there is this aspect of like, yeah, keep moving forward,
You gotta keep
keep
it.
slogging forward,
It's also
dude.
the whole idea of like commitment. And you and I have talked about this before. Is like last man standing is usually the one who's gonna get it.
But you're saying last couple standing.
In the sense of like, you just gotta keep showing up.
I agree. How do you build a lifelong marriage? One day at a time.
Show up.
Yeah. And then there's this acknowledgement that there are seasons. Don't quit because you're in a tough one. Obviously, there's
Yes.
fringe cases, etc. But I think I agree with that.
Yeah.
Maybe that should be the title of our book.
No.
All right, next. Marriage is 50-50.
Yes and no.
I'm thinking about the love doesn't keep score.
Mm-hmm. Yes and no. Here's my thought. Marriage should include 2 active parties who are willing to serve each other. But Monday, it could look like 99-1.
Mm-hmm.
Tuesday, it could look like reverse. I think at the end of the day, if we're averaging out the 50-50, it's good.
Oh, interesting. It's almost like blackjack statistics. You play enough hands, it'll be 54,
Yes.
46 or whatever.
Because like if I wake up and I'm having an absolute horrible day, you're probably going to give a lot more than me. And if you wake up and you are having a horrible day, I'm probably going to give a lot more than you. But
Oh,
it's knowing that at the end of the day, we're both willing to give
yeah.
what the other is.
I like that. Maybe a better analogy is that if you flip a coin 5 times, it might be heads every time.
Yeah.
But the next time,
At some point.
and over 1,000 flips, it'll be about 50-50. I think I've heard it said marriage is 100-100. I would say that I think my perspective is marriage inputs should be 100-100.
Yes.
So each party is giving their all. But that 100, to Shawn's point, from one party could be different from the 100 to another. So the marriage output might be 90-10, depending on the season. It might be 50-50. It might be 40-60.
Yes.
Interesting. Next, if you love someone, you'll never fight.
If you love someone, you're willing to fight and fight through it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I disagree with this. I do think my concept of fighting has drastically changed. It's not a power struggle. It's more of a, hey, let's understand each other's perspectives. And how can I respect you?
Yeah. I think it is a toxic belief for people who are not married or like early married to think a good marriage would not include fighting.
I agree. Next, the first 2 years of marriage are the hardest.
Yeah.
I think we talk about this with parenting. The hardest thing we did when we had any of our kids was that first child, the identity shift.
Yeah.
And I think the same applies to the first 2 years of marriage. It is a difficult process in the sense that you're changing identities.
Yeah.
You know, you're like
The transition years are hard.
And you're growing in the understanding of what marriage entails.
So like our first year married was the hardest. Our first year with our first kid, our first year with our second kid, our first year with our third kid. Like it's transition years. It's like those are hard because you're changing so much of your everyday life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Welcome back to Couple Things. We're diving into another round of
Camera Roll Confessionals. This segment is brought to you by our friends at Fracture Glass Prints. Because of the thousands of photos in our phones,
literally thousands,
the moments that matter deserve way more than life in your camera roll.
Fracture prints your favorite memories directly onto glass, so they look sleek, modern, and honestly magical on your walls.
They are super easy to hang and make your space feel instantly personal. Plus, they're sustainably made right here in the US. So if you love it,
fracture it.
And this time we're getting all in our feelings because it's the Mother's Day edition.
I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to cry.
We'll see about that. But we're going to be scrolling into our camera rolls and answering a few Mother's Day themed questions. Photos that remind us of what motherhood really looks like. Not the pose stuff. I'm talking about the real stuff.
Okay, you ready for round one?
Yes, let's do it.
The chaos shot. Let's kick it off with a photo that really shows what being a mom really looks like. The chaos, the madness, the realness.
Okay, I got one. Here we go. This one was taken last summer. You remember that?
Oh my gosh.
So this was when we were in Paris. We're in a foreign country. Shawn was just hustling from show to show, interview to interview during the Olympics. The kids were running wild, having a blast. We were destroying this Airbnb. We got it back in order, but that was chaos right there.
Mine, different take on chaos.
Oh
Literally last weekend.
That was last weekend, yes.
Trying to get a picture with Jet.
Yeah.
Just wanting a picture with my son. And he was just not having it.
Wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
That's right. All right. Round number 2. Pivot time. What's your favorite photo of your mom?
This.
Oh.
Grandparents' Day at their school. My mom is just in her prime.
That was a couple weeks ago.
I know.
That was a good one. I have one here. This is my mom and dad at Purdue. College sweethearts, and they're doing a little fitness challenge, I feel like
So
we
cute.
do these days, so that's fun.
Okay, round 3. A photo that made you feel like, I'm really a mom.
Okay. I feel like I know what yours is going to be.
Okay.
But for me personally, Shawn, this photo makes me feel like a mom.
Interesting interpretation.
Because Drew loves her mom, and in this photo, she was really cuddly with me for once.
This is mine. Seeing all of our babies cuddled together watching TV, I was like, wow.
Dude, we have 3 kids. We have 3 kids. How about that? All right, round 4. We're talking about the heart melter. Show me the photo that melts your heart every time you see it.
Easy. Another Paris photo.
Dang, she's beautiful.
Drew fell in love with chocolate croissants, and it's just the joy on her face, the peace that she had eating her little chocolate croissant. We had walked from our apartment down to the cafe. She was loving it. So was I.
She's beautiful. This is mine. This was taken a couple weeks ago.
Oh.
So the kids at Disney, and just the expressions on their face like really makes me want to cry. I almost cried about this morning just looking at Drew.
And watching Jet hug Goofy and like never let go. It was the sweetest.
That's the good stuff right there. All right, round number 5.
Since this segment is brought to you by Fracture, we got to pick out some prints for our moms, and they turned out so beautifully.
This right here is my mom's favorite family photo with her and all of her grandkids on the beach. And I know she's going to lose her mind over this. This really is so beautiful. It's so bright and crisp with the colors.
Okay. And then mine is the picture that I said of my mom, Grandparents' Day, which is so sweet.
Look at the green in that glass.
I know. Incredible.
Pretty nuts. So these prints, I feel like, are grandma gold, but we didn't just print for our moms. I also have one last surprise for you, babe, before we wrap this up. And it's Mother's Day. This is one of my favorite photos of you guys.
Oh,
And I want to just get this printed out on glass for you.
Love that picture.
I do too. There you go.
Aww.
That was a beautiful day. We went to the Eiffel Tower that day. You and Bear were vibing that day.
Bear. That was a lot of fun.
Good memories right there.
Thank you. I'm definitely going to be gifting our moms with some photos too.
I think we should. There's so many moments that live just quietly in our phones, I feel like, and they're honestly the best, most real moments that I want printed on glass. So if you're listening and there's a mom in your life, or you are the mom, go find some of those photos.
And maybe print 1 or 3 on glass because they deserve to be bigger than your phone screen.
That's right. And they deserve to be seen just like moms. And right now, Fracture is giving our listeners 30% off until Mother's Day. Head to fractureme.com and use code COUPLE30 at checkout. That's fractureme.com and give your photos the love they deserve.
Let us know if there are any other chaotic, unexpected photos you'd like to see us dig through our camera rolls for.
Tag us because we want to hear from you. Back to the show. But I would also just say I've come to understand that there's never a coasting setting. Like It's never like, oh, hey, this is all sunshine and rainbows.
And
it's more of an understanding that you're always going to be pushing the stone up the hill. And that's okay. That's good.
And all of those like statistics that are like the 7th year itch and the what, those I think are, what's the concept of like, if you believe it will actually happen?
Self-fulfilling prophecies.
Yes. I think all of those statistics are dangerous to read because you'll be like, oh, We're in the 7th year. We've been in arguments a lot. Oh, this has been hard. Like, what if we don't get, like, no.
Yeah.
The statistics are trash. Don't read those.
Yeah. Okay. Next, ask not what is my spouse doing for me, but what can I do for my spouse?
Yes.
I agree.
1000%.
That was a quote from a president. It's a play on a quote from a president. Ask not what my country can do for me, but what I can do for my country.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a game of selflessness. The best one to play. Next, nothing worth having comes easy.
Yeah. I agree.
I highly agree.
You don't value it as much.
I think nothing worth having. There's no shortcuts. You're not gonna, you don't get rich in a day. All of these things imply doing something over a long period of time.
Yeah.
It implies a duration.
Brings more value and more meaning and more purpose. The more effort that's put in.
Yeah. And I think anytime there's a long duration applied to something, there will be difficulties. Even like sitting down to watch a long duration of Netflix, your body will be discomfort.
Yeah.
It applies everywhere.
I liked that analogy, babe.
I'm saying,
Just slinging them out there.
I'm just trying them out.
I like it.
Okay, next. Variety is a spice of life.
Doesn't have to be.
Yeah, I agree. No.
Actually, there's so much beauty in the mundane.
Right.
And monotony. And yeah, no, I disagree with that.
This is kind of what our book's about. There is a lot of excitement in sampling the breadth of something, but I think once you're able to appreciate the excitement of the depth of something, and see the variety that comes with knowledge of knowing something deeply, that's a good spot to be.
I think variety is the spice of life is actually a dangerous belief, because whenever you start losing variety and change and adventure, impulsivity, then you're like, oh, it's not fun anymore.
I'm bored.
Yeah.
Go deep, baby. Go deep. Next, I'll scratch your back if you scratch mine.
No. False.
We've kind of talked about this one.
If you're living a life of like, I'll do this only if you give it back, no. That's not going to work.
Next, it's not about being right, it's about being kind.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. I think this is the one I'm struggling with, being black or white, like for or against most, because I think both should be true. You should be advocating for your perspective while also being kind.
For sure, but it also should, I agree, like, it doesn't always matter to be right.
Right.
And yes, I do think you should always be kind.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know.
But you shouldn't just be a doormat that doesn't share your opinion.
I agree with that.
So I guess what do you mean by right would be my question there. Okay, 4 more. Teamwork makes the dream work.
Yes.
100% agree. We say it all the time.
We are a team.
That's how we paint our family too. That's what we tell our kids. Like, yo, this is what our team does. I know that team does something different. That's okay. This is what our team does. Yeah. Next, the only 3 words you need in marriage are please, thanks, and sorry.
No, you need more. I love you. I appreciate you.
Is that just because your love language is affirmation, words of affirmation? Regardless,
No.
I disagree with this.
Yeah. No, it's not that. No.
What I've grown to appreciate is that in marriage, you should want to share everything. So you should, like, in my mind, I would be happy. Like, my natural tendency is not sharing anything.
Really?
So I am pushing towards saying way more words than
You're
just
doing a great
please,
job.
thanks, and sorry. Thank you. I'm curious what you all would say about this one, as well as the others, but that one, because I see the heart of it, the core, but I don't think I agree with it.
I don't think it's like the key.
Right. All right, next one. When the going gets tough, the tough get going. I'm like a cheesy motivational guy. So, yeah, I like this.
Yes, I think it just implies commitment. Like, it's the quitters never win and winners never quit. It's just like if it gets tough, you gotta keep moving.
Growth is on the other side of difficulty.
And you gotta keep trying.
The mountaintop is through the valley. Yes. Next, last. It's not about finding the perfect person. It's about finding the perfect person for you. I disagree with the whole thing top to bottom.
Yeah. Yeah. Dangerous belief. I don't think perfection exists. I don't think the one exists. I think you make an active choice, you fall in love, and you should not be setting your expectation or your standard at perfect.
Well, perfect for you means this person loves me like I want them to love me.
Yeah.
Which is not really what the thing is. It's like they're not going to love yourself like you love yourself. You're taking care of that.
Yeah.
The whole thing of the teamwork is you go about this a different way, and it's probably a good thing. Both of us collaborating on loving each other, taking care of our marriage. Like, if I'm viewing that as like a third entity,
Yeah.
you, me, and the marriage, we got to take care of this thing. We're not going to love the marriage like I want to love the marriage. It's going to be collective. Am I saying that right?
I think so. I just think the word perfect is dangerous. It's a slippery slope. I'm just looking for the perfect person for me. Because, like, we have friends who are getting really caught up with this. Because in their mind, they have an image of a perfect person for them.
Mm-hmm.
But they're missing out, I think, on a lot of opportunity because they're not allowing imperfection.
My takeaway would just be, it's not about you.
Yeah.
You know? It's not about you.
Yeah.
I'll work on saying that better, but I feel that. That's how I feel. Anyway.
That's how you feel?
It's not about me, is what I mean to say.
That's how you feel.
It's not about...
Did you share a feeling?
This was fun. Okay, let us know any other marriage cliches that we missed. Let us know what you think about some of these. Did any strike you as ultra true or ultra untrue? Let us know. And if you made it this far, please subscribe to the show. We have more episodes coming. This is our 6th year of this podcast, and it has been a wild ride.
It has.
Thank you to all of you who have been a part of this for the last 5.5 years. And we're looking forward to more. So that's all we have for this one. I'm Andrew.
And I'm Shawn.
Catch you next time.